What if I told you that most of the choices you make each day aren't really yours? That invisible strings, woven by psychology, are quietly guiding your decisions. From what you buy to who you trust to when you say yes. In this video, we're diving into one of the most powerful books ever written on human behavior, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. By the end of this, you'll not only see how the world influences you, you'll learn how to influence it back. The hidden science behind yes. Robert Cialdini wasn't just another psychologist writing theory. He was obsessed with why people agree. So obsessed that he went undercover, working in sales, marketing, and even fundraising, to watch persuasion in action. What he found was shocking. People don't always make rational choices. They follow psychological triggers, shortcuts that help the brain decide faster, but not always smarter. Cialdini called them the 6 universal principles of persuasion. Later, he added a 7th. Each one is like a lever, pull it, and human behavior shifts. Let's explore them through real stories you'll never forget. 1. Reciprocity, the power of giving first. Imagine walking down the street when a stranger hands you a single flower. You smile, thank them, and before you can walk away, they ask for a donation. You didn't ask for that flower, but suddenly it feels wrong to refuse. So you give. That's reciprocity in action. The ancient rule that says, if someone gives to you, you give back. Marketers use it everywhere. Free samples, trial subscriptions, special bonuses. You feel like you're being treated, but what's really happening is a psychological transaction. Your mind whispers, they gave me something, I should return the favor. The takeaway. Giving first creates a debt, one that most people can't help but repay. Use it ethically, and you'll open doors. Use it manipulatively, and you'll trap people in invisible obligations. 2. Commitment and consistency, the trap of staying true. Picture this, you're walking past a charity stall. Someone asks, would you sign a quick pledge to support the environment? You say yes. A week later, the same group asks for a donation, and you give. Why? Because your brain wants to stay consistent with your earlier action. Once we make a choice, we stick to it, even if the new ask is bigger. It's why free trials become subscriptions. Why we keep defending old opinions. Why we follow through on goals we publicly declare. Humans crave inner harmony. We want our actions, words, and self-image to align. But that same desire for consistency can be weaponized. Cialdini calls it commitment escalation, small yeses that lead to giant compliance. When you catch yourself thinking, I already agreed, might as well continue. Pause. That's consistency nudging you, not logic. 3. Social proof, the crowd knows best, or does it? Let's run a small experiment. You walk into a cafe you've never been to. One corner is empty. The other has a line of people waiting. Which one do you choose? Most pick the crowded one, not because the food's better, but because everyone else seems to know something you don't. That's social proof, our instinct to follow the crowd when uncertain. It's powerful, ancient, and deeply wired for survival. If everyone ran from the river, it probably meant danger. Today, it means trending hashtags, bestseller labels, or 10K people bought this. Social proof isn't bad, it's efficient. But when everyone's copying everyone, truth gets blurry. Next time you see most popular or everyone's using this, ask yourself, is it actually good or just popular by momentum? 4. Liking, people by people. You've probably noticed this. You're more likely to say yes to someone you like. Maybe they compliment you. Maybe they seem similar. Maybe they're just kind. That's no accident. A study once showed that car salesmen were trained to find one similarity. Same hometown, favorite sport, even shared dislikes. And their sales skyrocketed. Because when we feel connected, we trust. And when we trust, we comply. Influencers know this better than anyone. You don't just buy their product, you buy them. Their smile, their energy, their story. But hear the truth. Liking can be genuine or engineered. Cialdini reminds us it's okay to like people. But don't confuse charisma with character. 5. Authority, the illusion of expertise. Back in the 1960s, psychologist Stanley Milgram ran a disturbing experiment. He asked volunteers to administer electric shocks to another person. Every time, they gave a wrong answer. The person in the lab coat, the scientist, told them to continue, even as screams filled the room. What the volunteers didn't know: the shocks were fake. The screams were acted. But 65% of people went all the way to maximum voltage, just because an authority figure told them to. That's the power of authority. Titles, uniforms, tone, they trigger obedience. You see it in ads when doctors recommend toothpaste, or in tech when experts endorse a product. The uniform is the modern crown. And when you see it, your brain often switches from thinking to following. Respect authority, yes, but never surrender your judgment to it. 6. Scarcity, the fear of missing out. A study once showed that when people were told a cookie jar had only 2 cookies left, they rated those cookies as more delicious than when the jar was full. Same cookie, different perception. That's scarcity, the psychological trigger behind FOMO. Only 2 seats left. Offer ends tonight. Limited edition. Scarcity amplifies desire. The less available something feels, the more valuable it becomes. This principle is so strong it can override logic. We rush into purchases, relationships, and opportunities, not because we want them deeply, but because we don't want someone else to have them. Cialdini's advice: when urgency strikes, slow down. If you're rushing to act, that's persuasion, not passion. 7. Unity, the power of belonging. This one came later in Cialdini's work, but it might be the most powerful of all. Humans are tribal by nature. When we feel someone is part of us, persuasion becomes effortless. Think of movements, fan bases, or communities. They don't sell products, they sell identity. Apple didn't just sell phones. They sold the idea of being creative, different, elite. That's unity. When you build a sense of shared we, influence becomes invisible. Because now you're not convincing. You're connecting. The hidden pattern behind all influence. If you look closely, you'll see that all 7 principles rely on one truth. Humans crave simplicity. Our minds are overloaded, so we rely on shortcuts. Gifts, consistency, crowds, charm, authority, scarcity, unity. They help us decide faster. But when used without awareness, they turn us into puppets. You're influenced every single day by ads, leaders, creators, and friends. The real question isn't, can I avoid influence? It's, can I recognize it before it controls me? Reflection, becoming consciously persuasive. Cialdini never said persuasion is bad. He said it's powerful. You can use it to help people make better choices, to inspire change, to communicate with impact. But you can also use it to manipulate. That's the ethical crossroad every influencer, marketer, or leader faces. So next time you give, ask, am I giving to help or to hook? When you persuade, ask, am I informing or exploiting? Because true influence doesn't just change minds. It earns trust. Final takeaway. Every yes you say starts in the subconscious. Nudged by reciprocity, shaped by consistency, reinforced by the crowd, guided by liking, controlled by authority, rushed by scarcity, and sealed by unity. But once you see the levers, you gain power over them. As Robert Cialdini wrote, by recognizing the weapons of influence, we gain power over them. So stay aware. Give generously. Lead ethically. And never stop studying how the world persuades you. Because understanding influence is the first step to mastering it. If you ever decide to read the full book yourself, I've dropped my link in the description. It's worth every page. Oh, by the way, I've linked this book below if you want to go deeper into these experiments. Trust me, it's one of those reads that actually changes how you see people.